So sometimes people will say that they have addictions, and what they're really referring to are unwanted behaviors that they engage in. So sometimes people will say that they're addicted to smoking cigarettes, or they're addicted to porn, or they're addicted to chocolate donuts, or something like that. So what I'm going to share with you today applies to that kind of thing. And this also applies to any of the unwanted behaviors or habits that you might engage in. So, uh, you know, any of big or small, whatever they might be, they all have some things in common. And so that's what we're going to explore today. And specifically, I'm going to share with you 5 steps that will be helpful for you in understanding these behaviors and then understanding what you could do differently so that you could make the changes that you want. So hopefully that seems like a good deal to you. The first thing is to understand that the way that you think and speak about these things does matter. And sometimes people will trivialize this because they say, well, what does it matter? It's just semantics. Who cares what I call it? But it does matter. I mentioned that sometimes people will say that they are addicted to things. Now, I do want to be clear that there is the possibility in certain instances of actual physical dependence, and that's not what I'm referring to here. So what I'm referring to here are those things where people use the word like addiction, but they're not actually talking about a physical dependence. What they're talking about is a habit of behavior. Now, not to say that there might not be habituation to something. Okay, so there certainly might be, and that might produce in some cases some um, discomfort, physical discomfort in discontinuing certain behaviors. But that's different from physical dependence. So I'm not talking about physical dependence. I'm talking about uh, habitual behaviors. And so when people speak about their behaviors as addictions, for example, then that becomes problematic because in order to think about or speak about something, you actually have to create that representation for yourself in your own mind. And so just think about this. If sometimes people will say that they are trapped. You ever heard somebody say they're trapped? Maybe you've thought about yourself being trapped in some way, in some situation in life, but you're not actually literally trapped, right? It's not like a person is literally in a trap. But if they say that they're trapped, then in order to think that, they have to create that representation for themselves first. And so they're actually creating a representation of being trapped, of actually being stuck in a trap. Now, if you were to just imagine yourself stuck in a trap, I'm thinking about I don't remember which one. You remember those movies, the Mad Max? You remember those movies? There's one, I think it was the first of those movies. There was the main character. It's these sort of dystopian movies, dystopian movies, and the main character in one of these at one point chains a person to a car. I think it was to a car, and then it's been a long time since I saw the movie, but I think he gives him a hacksaw, and he tells him, this car is gonna blow up in however much time, and it will take you more than that much time to cut through the chains using this saw, but you can cut through your own leg in less time. So that's being trapped. Okay, just to put it in context, that's being trapped. So you cannot actually get out of the trap without something like cutting off your own leg. Okay, so if you imagine being trapped, then how many options do you have available to you if you're trapped? Not many. And they're not very good options. All of the options which you're imagining are available to you are not very good. So that's the power of the way you think about something. So if you think I'm trapped, then you're saying I have very few options and none of them are any good. But actually, that's not true. We always have far more options than what we're considering. And the way that we speak about and think about things will determine to a large extent the options that we are willing and able to actually recognize and open ourselves to. So if you say that you're addicted to something, do yourself a favor and stop doing that. Instead, tell the truth, which is that you're choosing to engage in behaviors that you would like to not choose to do any longer. Notice how different that is. If you're choosing to do something, which is the truth, you're choosing, right? I mean, you're choosing the things that you do in your life. Nobody else is doing that. Just in case you didn't know that, now you know. You're choosing the things that you do in your life.